Welcome to the NFL Big Match Preview, brought to you by NFL Insight. I'm Andy Richmond, and this week one of the games that we are looking forward to and will be trading live is the Detroit Lions' visit to the Philadelphia Eagles, with both teams coming here on the back of victories at home last weekend. We'll be looking at some of the betting markets, reflecting on previous games between the two teams, how their season has gone so far, and most importantly, taking a look at some of the important tactical facets within the game before we round out the preview with a small sample of our live match trading statistics, which form the basis of a lot of our trading decisions and strategies that we use to trade the game on Sunday night, when we'll be certainly trading this game live. Well, let's first of all take a look at the match odds and compare with our master tissue, which we do on every NFL game. All of these prices that you see here are available via our trading sheets, that you can compare a real price based on hundreds of similar games with what you're being offered in the marketplace. In effect, you've got your own tissue in your own hands, and they should prove incredibly useful if you're betting or trading on the game. In this game, well, the Lions are 2.25 with the bookmakers this weekend. The Lions 1.7. We think the Lions should just possibly be a little bit of a longer price, whereas the Eagles are priced around correctly as well. Possibly even the Lions should have a little bit more on the handicap as well, probably pushing towards the +3 marker to bring these two sides towards parity. Of course, both have been in good form of late as well. You can also see the prices there for them to win the division and the Super Bowl, and the percentage chance of them, their first points coming from a touchdown or a field goal as well. Those can also be matched up with the prices that you're being offered in the marketplace as well. We've been using matchbook prices for our pre-game analysis, and you can see how their prices shape up on the game here, and it's 2.2 for the Lions and 1.77 for the Eagles there. Plenty of money on either side. I'd urge you to go and have a look at Matchbook. They're a good alternative to the exchanges and the fixed odds guys that are around as well. Also on the handicap, well, it's a -2.5 that the Eagles are going to give away there. Still makes them favourite, as I say. On our handicapping system, I think they probably need to, they could probably give away 3 here, and that would bring the two sides towards parity. If we take a look at the one of the other markets that are available on Matchbook, and that is the points line, 54. That's heading towards one of the highest points lines of the week, and not surprising, the over is the outside of there. These two teams are thought of as being very, very powerful offences, and they are, but that's not to decry that both of them have got reasonable defences as well that have been playing well of late, and I'm not so sure whether that 54 line will be breached. I'd just be tending towards the head towards the under. Well, let's take a look and reflect back on how these two sides have gone in the past. The rivalry dates back to a very long way. 1933 these two sides first played each other, but they've only met 31 times in that intervening period. The Lions lead the series, the Eagles I should say rather, lead the series 16-13 with two games ending as ties. Since 2000, the two franchises have met 4 times. The Eagles have won 3, but they lost the last meeting 26-23. Both sides in good positions for playoff places, well, within the NFC of course. I think that both of them are capable of winning their divisions, and probably both are capable of also sneaking into the wildcard race, but I think both of them are really aiming to win their divisions. Philadelphia possibly having the tougher task to win their division. Detroit really do hold the whip hand in the NFC North. It's in their own hands. They bounced back from consecutive beats. They put Green Bay to the sword on Thanksgiving Day, although that was a rather depleted Green Bay side, but Detroit did it well. Philadelphia, they're 7-5 now. They've won 4 in a row. They've gained some real momentum, and I think it's probably an NFC East race with the Dallas Cowboys that will see them win out. But they've got to keep going, because they could so well slip into the wild card race. Well, we've reflected on how they've gone, looked at the betting. Let's take a look at the 5 facets of the game for each team that could well be vital in deciding how this plays out. Let's start with the Lions. They're 3-3 on the road this year. The number one priority for the Lions is they must learn or get better at protecting the football. Even in their win against the Packers, the Lions turned the ball over 4 times, and they've given the ball away at least 3 times in 4 of the last 5 contests. Against a team that play at a good tempo like the Eagles, ball security is paramount, and the Lions cannot afford to be flagrant with the ball in a game like this. Now, against the Packers, the Lions could not have scripted a better game from their run attack. Apart from one fumble by Reggie Bush, they had a lovely 1-2 punch via Bush and Joique Bell, and both of these backs showed good decision-making qualities and made cuts which regularly turned out, which could have been 2-yard gains, into ones of 6 or more. Both running backs also forced plenty of missed tackles, and the Eagles will have to contain these two. They will give the Lions a good balance to their exciting passing game. One thing that the Lions must do to Eagles quarterback Nick Foles is pressure. And I'll have more of that when we take a look at the Eagles in a moment. But it's one of the elements of the game that the Lions have become excellent at via their young defensive ends, most notably Ziggy Ansah and Devin Taylor, who was outstanding against the Packers. When you add Ndamukong Suh to the package, then the Lions are well equipped to give Foles a torrid time. There are plenty of sides at this stage of the season that have major injuries to their stars in the NFL, but the Lions appear to be one of the shortest injury lists in the entire league, and come here with what effectively is a 10-day break, having played on Thanksgiving. That may well give them some advantage here late in the game, so look for them. If they are behind, they are a good comeback team and they are fit and healthy with all their stars. What might play on the Eagles' minds in this game is that they may consider it a must-win. And we have seen them blow games like this before, and how good are they under pressure? They really haven't had that much practice at pressure games. Detroit sit alone at the top of the division with the playoff fate in their own hands. Of course, that was true 3 weeks ago, and the Lions played subsequently poor, sloppy football in losses to Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay. The Eagles are better than either of those teams, and the Lions must take them very, very seriously. Detroit must not squander this opportunity. While this is not a must-win game, a win here would put a whole lot of pressure, would ease a whole lot of pressure going forward. A Lions win and a Bears loss in Week 14 would put Detroit in position to clinch its first ever NFC North title when the Lions host the Ravens on Monday Night Football in Week 15. And wouldn't that be some reward for those long-suffering Lions fans? Now let's slip the battle over and take a look at the Eagles and how they might approach the game. Very little has gone wrong for the Eagles over the past month, but they have quite a bit of trouble putting the last 2 games away, despite sizable second half leads. Both Washington and Arizona turned three possession gaps into one, making some tense finishes for the last 2 games. It's an issue actually dates way back to the season opener, which means it's one of the few details Chip Kelly, their head coach, seemingly hasn't quite figured out in his first season as an NFL head coach. Against a side with the ability to come back like the Lions, that could prove a costly error for the Eagles. I spoke earlier about quarterback pressure on Nick Foles, and Detroit, believe me, can certainly bring that. And if there's one element of the game that Foles struggles with, it's pressure. And the Lions can bring plenty of that against the Cardinals. Foles won 15 pressurised dropbacks. He went 4 for 10 for 41 yards. That's a 52.5 quarterback rating, and took 5 sacks. And believe me, I believe that the Lions will bring plenty of pressure on Sunday. If there was an element of the game that was under par for the Eagles before last Sunday, it was getting their tight ends Zach Ertz and Brent Celek involved. Both made telling contributions in the Cardinals, and it was Ertz who probably had a breakout game, going 5 catches on 6 targets for 68 yards and 2 touchdowns. Both of these targets should be used more in an Eagles offense that is working out how to use all its weapons, and believe me, they have plenty. I like these two; they form a good duo, and I think Kelly should use Ertz and Celek more in the short passing game over the middle. Over the last 8 games, the Philadelphia Eagles are the only NFL club to have allowed 21 or fewer points in every single contest. The Eagles did allow 3 touchdown passes to Carson Palmer last Sunday, but they came up with a huge stop when it mattered the most. It was the second straight the week where the defence made a late game stand in a one-score contest. Philadelphia recorded 3 turnovers on defence, the finest a leaping interception by safety Nate Allen near the end zone. One he was able to return 47 yards to midfield. The Eagles' defensive line and linebackers pressured Carson Palmer all day, recording 5 sacks, and I believe they'll try and do the same to Matt Stafford. It was a strong performance against an offence loaded with playmakers. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Because Detroit are also loaded with playmakers. And once again it emphasised the Eagles' ability on defence. They bend, but they don't break. Against a team like the Lions, field position is always of paramount importance, and the Eagles have a real weapon in that confrontation in punter Donnie Jones. Last week against the Cardinals, Jones punted 8 times in all, averaging 44.8 yards per punt. 7 of those punts landed inside the opponent's 20. Jones' final punt was a punt that pinned Arizona Cardinals at their own 11, but his best kick may have been a 69-yard blast that had the Eagles facing a 4th and 25. Jones may be invaluable again on Sunday when the Eagles will need to keep the potent Lions defence at arm's length. And although he won't be a notable player, he will have a very, very key part to play within the game on Sunday, especially pinning the Lions deep, making them go those 70, 80 yards for touchdowns. I mentioned at the top of the show our exclusive trading stat sheet, and these have lots of information about how the sides have responded in certain situations before and how often they go on to win a game from particular situations. These give you a guideline and a price to compare with what is on offer at that point from the bookmakers, and here you can see what the true prices should be in the following situations at half time. And we also take a look by comparing games of a similar nature of how likely situations will happen throughout a game as well. In our live trading room on Sunday, we have the ability to predict a live tissue price at any point in the game and how likely statistically certain outcomes are to happen. That's a huge advantage that we've got in seeing what the prices are at that time and whether to play or not. Here we can see what the percentage chances each side would hold with these winning margins in the game. You can also see the chance of either side dashing out to a 10-0 lead, and those of a side leading by a certain margin within a game. We have those calculated for all particular outcomes in the game. All of this data gives us a really good idea of the ebbs and flows within a market and how it should be priced at any moment and situation within the game. Those statistics that I've shown you there are just a small taster of the profusion of data that we have available in those sheets, which are exclusively available to NFL Insight and via the live updates that we pump into our trading room on Sunday nights. They make us able to assess the match situations and the odds available at an instant and compare them with what on offer. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this match preview. They're just a small part of what we're trying to do here at NFL Insight. If you subscribe to our NFL Insight TV channel via YouTube, you'll get all the latest previews. I'll be back soon for previewing further matches on all the big games in the NFL as we head towards the postseason. And make sure you check out our betting focus previews via our website, which is www.betting-insight.com, where we take a look at the best betting opportunities on the game once we have taken into account all the tactical factors in this preview. We'd love you to come and get involved with us at NFL Insight, and we're here for all your NFL previews, statistics, trading views and betting advice. NFL Insight, combining tactical analysis with betting opportunities, is a new way of looking at and betting on the NFL. We hope to see you soon. I've been Andy Richmond, and this is NFL Insight and the big match preview with the Detroit Lions against the Philadelphia Eagles.